So thank you, everybody. This is episode 7 of the Ordinary Folk podcast. I'm here with Mike Wiley of SquareSyntax. I said your name correctly, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, that is correct.
Right. Did not ask before we got on here. So Mike is a local Cincinnati musician. So SquareSyntax is essentially, I would qualify it as, in my perspective, as a electronic progressive band. What do you qualify it really?
Well, I suppose that would suffice to describe our style, so to speak. We're kind of going for like a new Bruce Springsteen.
I like that. I'm eager to see how, after it's all said and done, how your guys' stuff stacks up to Born in the USA.
I mean, we're just kind of like, if you really listen to his music, we're kind of like that, but completely the opposite.
Yeah, that's quite accurate. Yeah, I had a chance to listen to your guys' albums on Spotify. The one was Transatlantic.
The Horned Transatlantic Fur Line.
Yes. I got a chance to listen to that. I really enjoyed it. I had the time to get to halfway through the more recent one that's on there, which I believe is that the first one that you've actually incorporated a full band on?
Yes. We had Chris Black joined the band, and he has been a fine addition. And we also did a track with Lazy Ass Destroyer on that as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've seen them. I enjoyed their live aesthetic with the guitarist in his gimp mask and full regalia.
Yes, his balls are in many faces.
That's how you know you went to a good show, is when you can just smell the ball sweat when you get home.
It's right in your face.
I guess... obvious thing to start with, when did you really kind of start building this project up, and how did it kind of come about?
Well, you see, I was in Common Man Down and Loon Apollo when this first started, and I just kind of wrote my own songs, and it didn't really fit with either of the projects, so I decided that it was time to still make music, but, make it my own style. And it was awful for a long time, but it's got a lot better. We're actually, I'm working with people that aren't me, which is nice. I talk to myself a whole lot less, and it helps add flavor to all the different flavors that I have.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a really cool, super fresh salsa dip, in a way.
Very salsalicious.
Now, in many ways, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot, especially with the earlier album, which I already forgot the name because I have a terrible memory, but there is a very kind of Nine Inch Nails type of feel to it in many of the songs, and kind of like that darker, more industrial vibe. And then there's some where it's actually got a really nice, it just sounds nice and really upbeat, especially towards the that end of that earlier album. What type of influences earlier on were you inspired by that kind of shaped your early stuff?
Well, actually, Nine Inch Nails, I did enjoy them. Though Trent Reznor is so easy to make fun of. Mm-hmm. He's just such a target. I love him to death, but man. But I drove a lot of my inspiration from Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails. But I like pretty much anything that doesn't suck. I will dabble with most any genre, and because of that, I started to really dabble in other genres and pick and choose the different elements that I like of those genres. I smoked for a long time, so, my voice kind of got a little fucked up, so I really liked some Tom Waits.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great inspiration. Really like King Crimson, too.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Great stuff to really get your brain moving and dancing all about. But at the same time, my real true love is electronic music. So I don't know, Boards of Canada, really got into them for a bit, and Black Moth Super Rainbow Tobacco, pretty much what I was listening to for a while.
I remember seeing before, because I've kind of known, I've not known you, but I've kind of had mutual friends that have kind of been between us for a little bit now, and I remember, because of that, and it's gonna sound weird, but seeing on Facebook, I recall seeing that when, I'm pretty sure it was when you were still doing SquareSyntax earlier on, and you were wearing like a mask, and I believe it was when you were doing it kind of solo.
Yes.
Now, of course, like we just mentioned, it is now a full band dynamic. Is there anything particular that you enjoyed more about when you were performing solo versus the full band, or is there, like, do you prefer having the full band? And
honestly, I liked being able to show up with 2 backpacks, and that being all the gear that I needed. That was a very, very fine change from, having to deal with 3 carloads full of equipment with Common Man Down and Luna Apollo and, just all this crap on stage. It's just nice to be condensed a little bit, but at the same time, I felt it was very limiting, and I did not like it.
I understand completely. And back then, you were wearing, of course, like the mask, and was that kind of like an aesthetic choice where you really just kind of wanted to take the attention away from yourself in that, or?
Well, it was more just trying to be, more of a performer than oh, that guy's on stage, that's cool. I just wanted to be more of a, show than just like a guy playing music. And I believe that that was executed correctly. That being said, once I started incorporating the vocals into that, it got very difficult to sing with a mask on.
Yeah, I can see that too. So.
Well, honestly, the biggest part with the mask and singing was I couldn't breathe well through the nose holes.
That's true.
I need bigger holes.
Out of context, that's a hilarious line. Don't worry. This is not a podcast that's listed as being mature. It's just supposed to be a fun, ordinary conversation. And if you can't make just funny, whole jokes, I guess, then what's the point of living?
What's the point?
Unfortunately, didn't have time to go research every single lyric in terms of the actual songs that have actual vocals on them. But as far as the thematic content of what I saw, they were very kind of for some of them. I believe there was the track called "Vomit," and it sounded like it was talking about more just general mainstream media. If I was not mistaken,
that song actually came about because one of the methods I use to get samples is I type blah, blah, blah slam poetry.
Oh, okay.
And so I typed in vomit slam poetry, and I found this goofy goth girl that was just she poured her heart into it, but out of context, I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. So I meshed that up with a 4chan raid of a talk show, and I just thought it was fucking hilarious. So sure, it's about the media.
Fantastic. This is probably going to be my favorite episode. I say that about every episode, but right now this is my favorite.
Well, this is now your favorite.
This is now my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, life is ever changing. Like, why the hell should I, stick to one common ideal? I mean, I'm a human being.
There's so many ideas, so many flavors you can dip your chips in.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get some salsa after this because now I'm really. I need some flavor blasted chips. Actually, I need some like Doritos.
You follow that up with salsa dance.
Hell yeah, that's
There you
true.
go.
Have you ever dipped a Dorito into salsa and then been like, man, this tastes fucking weird? Like, specifically a Dorito.
The polar opposite.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like the angels have just sang down from the heavens. It was a glorious moment in the history of chips.
Well, I guess that I'm the asshole because I thought it tasted weird, so there you have it. Actually, man, now I'm thinking about Doritos. You remember Doritos 3D? Like the 3D ones?
I didn't like them. They kind of went against my my political views.
Yeah, I can see that. They were just mainly just full of hot air.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with SquareSyntax, is there a general theme or message you're really trying to get out, or are you trying to come at it more of music that's more to be enjoyed as music for music's sake?
Well, to be honest, our lyrics are just batshit crazy because there is no real like formula to anything. We work best writing stories. I say we being me, but that we have some song. I like to kind of be positive. When I am writing music, I've always kind of had a lot of anxiety and what doctors like to say, depression. But I learned at a very young age to just channel that into music and performing and just, using that half hour to an hour that I have on stage or on air or on a plane or at sea to just let out all of that and force it onto other people.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, with your writing style, would it be correct to assume that the way you write is trying to encapsulate moments or feelings that you have of potential insecurities or just moods, and trying to, I guess, project those to others?
I've always thought about it like this. Pretty much whatever piece of work you're working on, writing, composing, painting, putting together, think of that as a little box that you can just throw all of your daily garbage into, and that box will fester and bloom and turn into something that isn't garbage. Sometimes it is. A lot of the times it is. You just throw those out. Or maybe, take what you need from it and turn it into other things. But the final product is something that, maybe other people can listen to it or look at it and it makes them feel something. It might not be a good feeling. It might not be a bad feeling. It might make them feel like, gouging their eyes out. But it also might inspire that person to be themselves and, really look at what's around them and just be like, this is all just goofy. Why do I have to be so hard on myself all the time? You only have one life to live. You might as well have fun with it, and you might as well pour your time and energy into something fun and fruitful to your own soul.
I like that. I really wish I had good words to say because I'll never top that in this episode. No, that's a really great
No, seriously, it was.
So, when you're creating a piece of work, is it more important to you that you might impact somebody with it, or is that more of a perk and you're more trying to get your own, like, satisfaction out of what you create?
Well, see, that's kind of part of it, actually. Pretty much what I do is I maybe have 2 songs that I actually started out just writing the lyrics. But most of the time, I just build up all of my frustration for the week and then just vomit all that onto a keyboard. And then I'll take those building blocks on a day that I'm not so stressed, and I will form all of the little pieces and then come up after all the structure is there. Then I will come up with some sort of viewpoint or some sort of theme, some direction to the actual piece of work. And sometimes I will be going for something specific, but most of the time that ends up being complete garbage. Generally, I just do whatever pops into my head, and I will just go to town on that until it doesn't work anymore, and then I'll change it. The nice thing about having other members to the band is I can take this stuff and be like, hey, what's terrible about this? Can we pull that out? How about you add something good to this? This is cool now. It just, it makes the whole process a lot more flowery for everybody.
Yeah. I remember, when I was in a band, it was nice to bounce ideas off of people. Because that way, in the event, because you want to get out of your own head a little bit. And that really is a nice kind of like ginger palate cleanse for you.
Yes.
Now, with SquareSyntax, what exactly do you guys together have a main goal of where you're wanting to take it, or is it just hitting it one day at a time and hitting it as hard as you can, and just whatever comes?
Actually, we do have a main goal. We have rallied a few new members to the team, and we have decided that we are going to switch the project a little bit. I can't give out too many details because can't. But we're thinking about, spoiler alert, for vocalist sort of thing. Maybe, yeah. But we don't know quite when we're gonna really throw that on to the general public, because at this point I've released enough work that I feel is subpar. I would like to... That's also why I haven't been releasing too much stuff lately, because I feel like it's really time to put out something really, really, really good. I've got the perfect team to do it. So, we're working on that. The only thing I can really tell you so far about that is that we are shopping new band names. So keep an eye out. Right now we're kind of thinking about going with the name The Waves. So if you want to see The Waves, make sure to keep posted on our Facebook.
I like the different vocal inflection of The Waves.
The Waves.
The Waves.
Yeah, what?
Is there anything else? Any other like potential band names you can maybe give us a hint at, or?
I mean, we were playing around with Mr. Sister Fister, but we don't think that would really be very nice for most audiences.
I was hoping there was going to be a better, like a more vocal change in how you pronounce that.
See, it doesn't quite ring the way The Waves does.
That's true. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a calm little wave.
Oh, but it will not be calm.
Ooh. I feel like that should be like a teaser image that you post if that's the name you choose.
Maybe.
So aside from SquareSyntax, I presume being as productive and seemingly self-motivated and ambitious guy that you are, you have some side projects.
Well, I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I have a alter ego that I have been suppressing for a very long time. Some of you may know this, but I am the real OG Snuggins.
My God. This is an Ordinary Folk Podcast exclusive, guys. Who the fuck's MC Snuggins? OG Snuggins?
OG Snuggins. Let me tell you a story.
Cool.
So, I'm a writer and editor for a magazine called Blotter Magazine. Mm-hmm. BLOTR, Buy Local OTR. So our first issue, I wrote a little, a goofy little satire article about the band called Pillow Pop and their struggle in the Cincinnati music scene being the first ever cuddlecore band. So the idea behind this band is, if you didn't read the article, is that we play pillows. It's the ultimate soft rock. That's
amazing. I'm laughing, but it's because of the unexpected.
Well, see, so when we released this magazine, I got a call from Devin Brooks from the DeVita House, and he had read the article, and he said to me, I would like to have Pillow Pop actually do a show because we want people to leave because it's our house. And so I said, all right. So we had our album release party, SquareSyntax album release party over at the Drinkery for the Horn Transatlantic Fur Line. And directly after this, we went straight to the DeVita House. And so I got up on stage. You can actually, well, I'll get to that. I got up on the stage there, and before I got there, I put a pillowcase over my head, and I stayed in character all night. I would not respond to Mike. I would only respond to OG or Snuggins. So we went on after Jess Lamb. Amazing. And so I just kind of told everyone, well, it was a BYOP event. You can join the band if you bring your own pillow. So I had about 3-4 people on stage, Slope being our lead pillowist. And I screamed in a pillow for 45 minutes while people played pillows. And they loved it so much we got 8 encores.
Wow.
We had, by the end of the set, we had about 12 people in the band. They've kind of popped. We've actually, got booked for other shows since then that people came to. But it's been a beautiful thing. We're kind of on hiatus right now because we are in a current argument with another band called, fuck their band name. They do napcore. We don't really want to get into that. It's in the second Blotter issue, but so there's that band, which you can join if you see us on a bill anytime. It's BYOP. Just join the band if you bring your own pillow. But I have a solo project. It's like a noise project called Cut Your Dick Off.
Nice.
The whole point of that is it's a borderline performance piece. And it's supposed to just make you want to cut your dick off. Our first performance, I slowly mutilated hot dogs while staring at people for uncomfortably long amounts of time while hard, heavy ambient noise music played.
Now, what type of hot dogs? We talking like Oscar Mayer or Nathan's Finest?
It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter.
They're just, it's the visual aspect. My drummer at the time, Dylan Coates, actually told me after the set that was the worst live set I have ever seen. I wanted to gouge my eyes out the entire time, and to me, that was a pretty successful show.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the point is you're making people feel something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It'd be worse if they felt nothing.
Yeah. The second show we played was on Valentine's Day. I had all of the hot dogs synced up to blood-curdling screams. And every time I would cut into them, they would scream.
Nice.
It was, I think there were 3 people to watch that show.
That's a shame. That actually, I'm not even like trying to be funny. That actually sounds pretty awesome.
It was something.
Just curious, you say you synced it up. How would you go about with that, syncing up the actual samples of the screams and everything?
Oh, well, me and Slope, the lead pillowist for Pillow Pop, we just screamed into the microphone a few hours before and made animal noises for about an hour. Mm-hmm. And we just chopped it up and sampled it.
Nice.
And we had little alligator clamps hooked up to the hot dogs. So the computer would send an electrical signal to the alligator clamps. So every time you hit them, it would make that sound.
That is fucking amazing.
Yeah. It was weird.
Now that's the shit that they should do in like grade school. Remember when you did the potato thing with the alligator clamps? Mm-hmm. Fuck that. Hook a hot dog up and make it scream. That's what really needs to be done.
That's about what life is all about.
That is what life's all about. Holy shit. So that sounds pretty awesome. I mean, both of those, both Pillow Pop and Cut Your Dick Off. Oh man, that's just great. Out of context, so many things that sound hilarious. But I don't know, they just sound like, I'm sure, I hate to say this because it sounds like a blanket term, but it just sounds like a really nice, just art piece, just a nice, art, performance art.
Well, I was starting to realize that I was getting a little bit too ridiculous with SquareSyntax, and while I like to be fun and lighthearted, I also kind of wanted to be a little bit more professional. So I just channeled all of my stupid ideas into these two. Really, I just made Cut Your Dick Off so I could have a flyer that said Cut Your Dick Off at the Rake. I just wanted to hand someone that with a straight face. Mm-hmm. And I did.
It's so awesome. What was the art on the flyer? Was it anything specific or?
It was for Die Alone at the Rake, mm-hmm. Which was on Valentine's Day, naturally. Mm-hmm. And it was just a bunch of people laughing at you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really good way to just lighten the mood of that day.
Yeah. I think 5 people came.
Nice.
But it was also snowing pretty heavy, so
yeah,
that was something.
Yeah. Because I feel like if it wasn't snowing, that'd probably be a better turnout. Because most people, even people who are in relationships, hate Valentine's Day. if they have a brain.
That's not so it right.
Now, at Rakes, I know that you're affiliated with them, and
I book some shows and stuff. Really, I mean, it's down the street, so it's convenient for me because I can be there all the time. But, I just try to help the electronic music scene because when I really got into it, especially after Common Man Down, when we were playing the big industrial shows and stuff, I saw that there was all this great music, but no one would really go out to these shows unless there was like a big headliner in the area. And I also kind of thought that I could bring some sort of change to that weird atmosphere by making it more of a production than just a show. And I've always kind of had that idealism with playing shows, so I just thought I would help out some people that I thought would need helping out, and I started Phase Melt Digital, and it was just kind of took off from there. Actually, Phase Melt started as a sample pack company.
Really?
Yeah, I took 3 long years of my work, and I stemmed all of them out into individual samples. Got a collection of 10,000 something different sound files, and I had some people product test them and released only the best. And now we are on phase 2 of Phase Melt, where we're going to be switching that up a little bit. We're planning on doing like album reviews, venue reviews.
That's cool.
Stuff to help the general scene and the general listener.
Yeah, the in the Phase Melt events, they're twice a month? Once a month?
Yeah, about on average nowadays. For a while there, we were doing... I think there was one month when we did like 8 different shows in a month. And we just kind of realized after a while it's not really about quantity more than quality. Because granted, they're free events. But if we spent 2 months promoting a really, really awesome show, as opposed to 2 weeks promoting a, this will be a fun night show. We can do a whole lot more, and we can really showcase those artists that really deserve the airtime, or playtime.
Yeah, that's really admirable because obviously you're trying to get your own work out there. Also, writing for Blotter, doing Phase Melt, and then putting on all these shows, trying to get organized and get all these different artists together and get them recognized a little more than they normally would.
It's fun to me, and it's very, very rewarding. I don't make very much doing this, but I've always lived by the idea that your name and your reputation is what you die with. You don't die with any of your stuff. So if you're just a solid dude, like just trying to help, that's a lot, and people think highly of you. That's a whole lot more valuable than making a quick $100 on a show. Plus, if you don't treat your people right, they're not going to treat you right. Yeah. So I just try to make it a fair and fun experience for everyone involved. I've been doing this for literally like 12, 15 years now, somewhere in that range. Since I was 13 years old, I've been playing live shows, and I've seen a lot of problems in the music industry to begin with. Cincinnati's got its issues, but I just I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that can come out as well. And I really believe that if this city really tried, we could potentially be like the next Chicago.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that's when I was still like in a band. This was forever ago. I kind of felt like I always felt like we were close. We were just like a few steps behind. It was steps like this. It didn't feel like everyone at once was willing to take.
Yeah,
you know.
You need to all be willing. Every band in this is something I have learned time and time again. You are only as strong as your weakest link. If someone is not willing to put their all into whatever you're working on, you just don't need to be working with that person. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be personal. It totally does not have to be personal. But if you really want to make good art, you have to be willing to make good art.
I agree. Now with the Cincinnati music scene, what do you think is one of the biggest detriments to it right now, in your opinion?
Too cliquey.
Too cliquey?
Yeah. Which, isn't necessarily Cincinnati's fault, in my opinion. Now, in my upbringing, I grew up in the suburbs of Loveland. I really got into playing live and like just writing music, mainly just when I was younger, at least, mainly just to make friends. Mm-hmm. And kind of have a voice in a way, and I've always kind of been that way. But it's one of those things, if you really aren't too used to it, it can be kind of hard to talk to people. And most musicians have some sort of social anxiety or some sort of anxiety that keeps them from being very good with networking. And I honestly think Cincinnati's main reason for being cliquey is because everything's so far apart. You generally don't have people from out in Goshen hanging out with people from North Side because it's such a long drive, mm-hmm. And I'm 27, I don't have time to go out and drive for an hour to see my friends in Goshen. It's nothing against them, but because of that disconnect, people can be caught up in their own lives, especially with Facebook and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And it can be it's a lot easier to be quick to judge someone when you don't see them as often, mm-hmm. than when you do. And but that's also why I think it's more important to have that community experience, because it helps grow all around. It's really good for everyone involved. It's good for the city, and it's good for art.
Do you think that more competitive things like Battle of the Bands and things like that, those type of shows, do you think that's more harmful?
Well, see, I have an opinion on this that might not be the most popular opinion, but I played all those. Mm-hmm. I grew up, for years I played what are now called pay-to-play shows. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know any better. Granted, I didn't really have much control over that sort of thing, but I've played those shows where you got to sell tickets. I've played the Battle of the Bands where they ask for money up front. And while being in the music scene for a while, I would never take those shows. I think that it's manipulative, and it's really all I wanted to do was play a show. Mm-hmm. And it takes advantage of those people. But at the same time, just being realistic here, earlier artists just don't know where to start. And while I did get ripped off for years playing free shows, I got my start. I got that experience. I now know what to look for as an older musician. A lot of kids these days don't really have that savvy, but it's something you learn from. It's not a good thing, but it's something you learn from. Now, the way to change this, though, and something that I personally have been trying to work on with Phase Melt, is making it so those people don't have to do that. They don't have to go to those people. Those people are always going to exist. You're never going to chase out every shitty promoter that's trying to take money from you. But there are good people out there that do really want to help and that do really care about starting as a musician. I would not recommend being a musician to anyone. It is, while it is rewarding, it is not a big cash cow, and there's a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety involved with that, because you're an entertainer. At the end of the day, you have to try to be entertaining at all times. And when you're not entertaining, some people can be quick to judge you on that. So I don't know, it's one thing you just kind of have to have the right mindset for, to really do it to its fullest potential.
Yeah, so, but all vulnerabilities aside that you open yourself up to, it's been worth it for you?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I still have, I really don't have too many ill feelings about people that have ripped me off in the past, but at the same time, I feel like it's something that, especially because of social media, probably won't be around too much longer, at least in a fact where people don't know what they're dealing with.
So since we're getting close to almost an hour now, and I don't want to keep you from getting to whatever you might need to be doing, is there anything coming up, like any shows either you're going to be doing or anything with Phase Melt?
We actually have a bunch of exciting stuff coming up for all of you. We are playing Geek Out Festival, which will be very fun. It is a Comic-Con that they recently added a music festival part to. So we will be playing that event. Also, we have the local support slot with the band Bloodworks on the upcoming Curse of Cassandra tour, June 9th, I believe.
Okay.
It's funny because the next day we're going to have to head to Geek Out Festival. Actually, probably that night.
So that's on the 10th or the 11th?
Yes.
Cool.
And Phase Mount will be doing projections for Geek Out. Speaking of projections, we are also doing Adjust Your Eyes Festival. We have Phase Mount has our own stage at Urban Artifact in the Cathedral on July 30th. And we are attempting to put on the most incredible light show and projection show that Cincinnati has ever seen.
That's awesome.
That is what we are attempting. So we'll see how that goes. Also, SquareSyntax will be playing the 29th at the Comment for Adjust Your Eyes Festival.
And before we pop off here, is there any final message, anecdote, or just general, just awesome thing you would like to say to the listeners?
Well, just never give up. That is the worst thing that you could ever do to yourself as a person. No matter how hard music may get, you will always have someone listening. As long as you release your stuff, at least someone will be listening. And, you know, if you really pour your heart into what you do, you can make some really amazing shit.
Hell yeah, I concur. All right, thanks, Mike, for being with us, and thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.